All right, everyone, I'm here. This is Venus Brown. I am back with another reading of The Handmaid's Tale. We're starting on chapter 23. A lot of this is going to be going over this, whatever it is that Fred has asked of Fred to be there for. Something secretive, something at night after other people have kind of gone to their rooms or wherever they are. I think they said that Serena would be in the sitting room or something like that. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started with our intermission for chapter 23. And if you haven't seen it or read the books, you could see on that image there is a game there. So yeah, let's just see what this consists of. Go to our reading screen. I believe we're on 126. Yes. Chapter 23. This is a reconstruction. All of it is a reconstruction. It's a reconstruction now in my head as I lie flat on my single bed, rehearsing what I should or shouldn't have said, what I should or shouldn't have done, how I should have played it if I were ever to get out of here. Let's stop there. I intend to get out of here. It can't last forever. Others have thought such things in bad times before this, and they were always right. They did get out one way or another, and it didn't last forever. Although for them it may have lasted all the forever that they had. When I get out of here, if I'm ever able to set this down in any form, even in the form of one voice to another, it will be a reconstruction then too. At yet another remove, It's impossible to say a thing exactly the way it was, because what you say can never be exact. You always have to leave something out. There are too many parts, sides, cross currents, nuances, too many gestures, which could mean this or that, too many shapes which can never be fully described. Too many flavors in the air or on the tongue. I don't know why this is making me teary-eyed, but whatever. Half colors too many. But if you happen to be a man sometime in the future and you've made it this far, please remember, you will never be subjected to the temptation of feeling you must forgive a man as a woman. It's difficult to resist, believe me, but remember that forgiveness too is a power. To beg for it is a power, and to withhold or bestow it is a power, perhaps the greatest. Maybe none of this is about control. Maybe it isn't really about who can own whom, who can do what to whom and get away with it, even as far as death. Maybe it isn't about who can sit and who has to kneel or stand or lie down, legs spread open. Maybe it's about who can do what to whom and be forgiven for it. Never tell me it amounts to the same thing. So, this whole thing about first off, forgiveness being a power, like all parts of forgiveness, withholding it, giving it, receiving it, all of it is some sort of power. And then she says maybe it's about who can do what to whom and be forgiven for it. And if you have watched the TV show, there is this scenario towards the end of the series. I think it's season 6, maybe even season 5 a little bit, where Serena is really trying to beg forgiveness from June. She is trying to get June to forgive her. And June's just not there. She cannot do that. Like, the shit that Serena and Fred had done to her and with her was so egregious. It was just like something she just couldn't get to that point where she could forgive her. But eventually she did. And I always have felt that forgiveness is for the person doing the forgiving. That holding on to whatever it is that you can't forgive a person for is continuing to allow that thing to be a weight on your shoulders, to hold you down in some way, to oppress you in some way. That if you can get yourself to where you are willing to truly forgive somebody for whatever it is they do, that can be freeing. That helps to remove some of that weight off of your shoulders. And eventually June does get there towards the very, very end of the series. The very end. But, and yeah, I do feel like that's something, if you want that kind of freedom, if you want to let that shit go so that you can move the fuck on with your life and stop fucking letting it weigh you down, like, that is better for you. The person that receives forgiveness may feel very good about it, but it's you that's going to be freed from it. So that's kind of my take on the matter. But it is very interesting just how much for a while there that Serena really wants forgiveness and June is not having it. June is not giving it to her. And that does weigh Serena down, I think. Anyway, let's move on. "I want you to kiss me," said the commander. Well, of course, something came before that. Such requests never come flying out of the blue. I want to sleep after all, and dreamed I went to sleep after all and dreamed I was wearing earrings, and one of them was broken. Nothing beyond that, just the brain going through its back files. And I was wakened by Cora with the dinner tray, and time was back on track. "It's a good baby?" said Cora, as she's setting down the tray. She must know already. They have a kind of word of mouth, telegraph. From household to household, news gets around. But it gives her pleasure to hear about it, as if my words will make it more real. "It's fine," I say. "A keeper, a girl." Cora smiles at me, a smile which includes. These are the moments that must make what she is doing seem more worthwhile to her. "That's good," she says. Her voice is almost wistful, and I think, of course, she would have liked to have been there. It's like a party she couldn't go to. "Maybe we have one soon," she says shyly. By we, she means me. It's up to me to repay the team, justify my food and keep, like a queen ant with eggs. Rita may disapprove of me, but Cora does not. Instead, she depends on me. She hopes, and I am the vehicle for her hope. Her hope is of the simplest kind. She wants a birthday here, with guests and food and presents. She wants, there I go again, she wants a little child to spoil in the kitchen, to iron clothes for, to slip cookies into when no one's watching. I am to provide these joys for her. I would rather have the disapproval. I feel more worthy of it. The dinner is beef stew. I have some trouble finishing it, because halfway through it I remember what the day has erased right out of my head. It's true what they say. It's a trance state. Giving birth or being there, you lose track of the rest of your life. You focus only on that one instant. But now it comes back to me. I know I'm not prepared. The clock in the hallway downstairs strikes 9. I press my hands against the sides of my thighs. Breathe in. Set out along the hall and softly down the stairs. Serena Joy may still be at the house where the birth took place. That's luck he couldn't have foreseen it. No, that's lucky. He couldn't have foreseen it. On these days, the wives hang around for hours, helping to open the presents, gossiping, getting drunk. Something has to be done to dispel their envy. I follow the downstairs corridor back, past the door that leads into the kitchen along the next door. His. I stand outside it, feeling like a child who's been summoned at school to the principal's office. What have I done wrong? My presence here is illegal. It's forbidden for us to be alone with the commanders. We are here for breeding purposes. We aren't concubines, geisha girls, or courtesans. On the contrary, everything possible has been done to remove us from that category. There's supposed to be nothing entertaining about us. No room is to be permitted for the flowering of secret lusts. No special favors are to be wheedled by them or us. There are to be no toeholds for love. We are two-legged wombs. That's all. Sacred vessels. Ambulatory chalices. So why does he want to see me? At night. Alone. If I'm caught, it's to Serena's tender mercies I'll be delivered. He isn't supposed to meddle in such household discipline. That's women's business. After that, reclassification. I could become an unwoman. But to refuse to see him could be worse. There's no doubt about who holds the real power. But there must be something he wants from me. To want is to have a weakness. It's this weakness, whatever it is, that entices me. It's like a small crack in a wall, before now impenetrable. If I press my eye to it, this weakness of his, I may be able to see my way clear. I want to know what he wants. I raise my hand, knock on the door of his forbidden room where I have never been, where women do not go. Not even Serena Joy comes here. And the cleaning is done by guardians. What secrets, what male totems are kept in here? I'm told to enter. I open the door, step in. What is on the other side is normal life. I should say, what is on the other side looks like normal life. There is a desk, of course, with a CompuTalk on it, and a black leather chair behind it. There's a potted plant on the desk, a pen holder set, papers. There's an oriental rug on the floor and a fireplace without a fire in it. There's a small sofa covered in brown plush, a television set, and an end table, a couple of chairs. But all around the walls there are bookcases. They are filled with books. Books and books and books. Right out in plain view. No locks, no boxes. No wonder we can't come in here. It's an oasis of the forbidden. I try not to stare. The commander is standing in front of the fireless fireplace. Back to it, one elbow on the carved wooden overmantel, the other hand in his pocket. It's such a studied pose, something of the country squire, some old come on from a glossy men's mag. He probably decided ahead of time that he'd be standing like that when I come in. When I knocked, he probably rushed over to the fireplace and propped himself up. He should have a black patch over one eye, a cravat with horseshoes on it. It's all very well for me to think these things. Quick as staccato, a jittering of the brain, an inner jeering. But it's panic. The fact is, I am terrified. I don't say anything. Close the door behind you, he says, pleasantly enough. I do it and turn back. Hello, he says. It's the old form of greeting. I haven't heard it for a long time, for years. Under the circumstances, it seems out of place, comical even. A flip backward in time, a stunt. I can think of nothing appropriate to say in return. I think I will cry. He must have noticed this, because he looks at me puzzled, gives a little frown I choose to interpret as concern, though it may merely be irritation. Here, he says, you can sit down. He pulls a chair out for me, sets it in front of his desk, and then he goes around behind the desk and sits down. Slowly, and it seems to me elaborately. What this act tells me is that he hasn't brought me here to touch me in any way, against my will. He smiles, The smile is not sinister or predatory. It's merely a smile, a formal kind of smile, friendly, but a little distant. As if I'm a kitten in a window, one he's looking at but doesn't intend to buy. I sit up, straight on the chair, my hands folded on my lap. I feel as if my feet in the air, I feel as if my feet in their flat red shoes aren't quite touching the floor. But of course they are. You must find this strange, he says. I simply look at him. The understatement of the year was a phrase my mother used. I feel like cotton candy, sugar and air. Squeeze me, and I'd turn into a small, sickly, damp wad of weeping pinky red. I guess it is a little strange, he says, as if I've answered. I think I should have a hat on, tied with a bow under my chin. I want, he says. I try not to lean forward. Yes, yes, yes. What then? What does he want? But I won't give it away. This eagerness of mine, it's a bargaining session. Things are about to be exchanged. So she who does not hesitate is lost. I'm not giving anything away, selling only. I would like, he says. This will sound silly, and he does look embarrassed. Sheepish was the word. The way men used to look once. He's old enough to remember how to look that way, and to remember also how appealing women once found it. The young ones don't know these tricks. They've never had to use them. I'd like you to play a game of Scrabble with me, he says. I hold myself absolutely rigid. I keep my face unmoving. So that's what's in the forbidden room? Scrabble? I want to laugh, shriek with laughter, fall off my chair. This was once the game of old women, old men, in their summers in retirement villas, to be played when there was nothing good on television. Or of adolescence once, long, long ago. My mother had a set, kept at the back of the hall cupboard, with the Christmas tree decorations in their cardboard boxes. Once she tried to interest me in it, when I was 13 and miserable and at loose ends. Now, of course, it's something different. Now it's forbidden for us. Now it's dangerous. Now it's indecent. Now it's something he can't do with his wife. Now it's desirable. Now he's compromised himself. It's as if he's offered me drugs. All right, I say, as if indifferent. I can, in fact, hardly speak. He doesn't say why he wants to play Scrabble with me. I don't ask him. He merely takes a box out from one of the drawers in his desk and opens it up. There are the plasticized wooden counters. I remember the board divided into squares. The little holders for setting the letters in. He dumps the counters out on the top of his desk and begins to turn them over. After a moment, I join in. You know how to play, he says. I nod. And then I think in the image, which was from the show Handmaid's Tale, he's actually takes this out and plays with it on a table that's in the room. Not the desk, but the show and the book are a little bit different. There's like subtle differences here and there. We play 2 games. Larynx, I spell. Valence. quince, zygote. I hold the glossy counters with their smooth edges, finger the letters. The feeling is voluptuous. This is freedom, an eye blink of it. Limp, I spell. Gorge. What a luxury. The counters are like candies made of peppermint, cool like that. Humbugs, those were called. I would like to put them into my mouth. They would taste also of time. The letter C, crisp, slightly acid on the tongue. Delicious. I win the first game. I let him win the second. I still haven't discovered what the terms are, what I will be able to ask for in exchange. Finally, he tells me it's time for me to go home. Those are the words he uses, go home. He means to my room. He asks me if I will be all right, as if the stairway is a dark secret. I say yes. We open his study door, just a crack, and listen for noises in the hall. This is like being on a date. This is like sneaking into the dorm after hours. This is conspiracy. Thank you, he says, for the game. Then he says, I want you to kiss me. I think about how I could take the back of the toilet apart, the toilet in my own bathroom on a bath night, quickly and quietly so Cora outside on the chair wouldn't hear me. I could get the sharp lever out and hide it in my sleeve and smuggle it into the commander's study. The next time, because after a request like that, there's always a next time. Whether you say yes or no. I think about how I could approach the commander to kiss him here alone and take off his jacket as if to allow or invite something further, some approach to true love, and put my arms around him and slip the lever out from the sleeve and drive the sharp end into him suddenly between his ribs. I think about the blood coming out of him, hot as soap, sexual over my hands. In fact, I don't think about anything of the kind. I put it in only afterwards. Maybe I should have thought about that at the time, but I didn't. As I said, this is a reconstruction. All right, I say. I go to him and place my lips closed against his. I smell the shaving lotion, the usual kind, the hint of mothballs familiar enough to me. But he's like someone I've only just met. He draws away, looks down at me. There's the smile again. The sheepish one. Such candor. Not like that, he says, as if you meant it. He was so sad. That is a reconstruction, too. So like, the stuff she says, the way she breaks off and she says that this is what happened, or this is what I said or thought or whatever, and then she turns around and says, but this isn't what really happened at all. It's a reconstruction. I added that after the fact. Like, it kind of cues you in on the stress of the situation, the dangers, and this feeling like maybe I did the wrong thing in the moment. Maybe I should have done things differently. I think we always, when we go back over something in our heads of how things went, we always think, oh, well, maybe I should have said this. Maybe I should have done this. We always think of what we could have done to improve the situation or something. And I think that's a little bit of what she's doing. I think she's also maybe trying to make things more palatable. And another thing, this idea that he's just inviting her in there to play Scrabble. It seems innocent enough. I don't think there's anything really innocent about it. I do think he's created a situation where he cannot be like that with his wife anymore. Maybe he could at one time, but he cannot anymore because he's created a situation where she can't feel safe being that to him. And so he's trying to take this other person in the household that he has to be intimate with at some point and make their relationship more friendly so that he can feel better about it. But we'll see later that that causes problems also. All right. Let's go to the next intermission for chapter 24. Okay, so now we're starting on part 9, Night, again, chapter 24. I go back along the dimmed hall and up the muffled stairs, stealthily to my room. There I sit in the chair with the lights off, in my red dress, hooked and buttoned. You can think clearly only with your clothes on. What I need is perspective. The illusion of depth created by a frame, the arrangement of shapes on a flat surface. Perspective is necessary. Otherwise, there are only 2 dimensions. Otherwise, you live with your face squashed against a wall, everything a huge foreground of details, close-ups, hairs, the weave of the bed sheet, the molecules of your face, your own skin, like a map, a diagram of futility, crisscrossed with the tiny roads that lead nowhere. Otherwise, you live in the moment, which is not where I want to be. But that's where I am. There's no escaping it. Time's a trap. I'm caught in it. I must forget about my secret name and always back. My name is Fred now, and here is where I live. Live in the present. Make the most of it. It's all you've got. Time to take stock. I am 33 years old. I have brown hair. I stand 5'7" without shoes. I have trouble remembering what I used to look like. I have viable ovaries. I have one more chance. But something has changed now, tonight. Circumstances have altered. I can ask for something. Possibly not much, but something. Men are sex machines, said Aunt Lydia, and not much more. They only want one thing. You must learn to manipulate them for your own good. Lead them around by the nose. That is a metaphor. It's nature's way. It's God's device. It's the way things are. Aunt Lydia did not actually say this, but it was implicit in everything she said. It hovered over her head like the golden mottos over the saints of the darker days. Like them too, she was angular and without flesh. But how to fit the commander into this, as he exists in his study, with his word games and his desire? For what? To be played with? To be gently kissed as if I meant it? I know I need to take it seriously, this desire of his. It could be important. It could be a passport. It could be my downfall. I need to be earnest about it. I need to ponder it. But no matter what I do, sitting here in the dark with the searchlights illuminating the oblong of my window from outside through the curtains gauzy as a bridal dress, as ectoplasm, one of my hands holding the other, rocking back and forth a little. No matter what I do, there's something hilarious about it. He wanted me to play Scrabble with him and kiss him as if I meant it. This is one of the most bizarre things that has ever happened to me. Ever. Context is all. I remember a television program I saw once, a rerun, made years before. I must have been 7 or 8, too young to understand. It was the sort of thing my mother liked to watch. Historical, educational. She tried to explain it to me afterwards, to tell me that the things in it had really happened. But to me, it was only a story. I thought someone had made it up. I suppose all children think that about any history before their own. If it's only a story, it becomes less frightening. Now, I remember when I was reading about Marie Montessori or Maria Montessori? I think it's Maria Montessori. I was reading about her because I was getting ready to put my kids in Montessori charter school for preschool. And I remembered before really reading about her, like reading the details about her life and all of that, that as if she was like really old and died like long time ago. And it surprised me when I found out like how recently she had actually been alive. It was very strange to me. And there are some artists and authors and stuff like that and scientists, things like that that I've thought of as being long dead, like centuries ago. And sometimes you find out that they weren't actually dead that long ago, that they actually were alive fairly recently. Every now and then you actually find out that somebody that you thought was long dead is actually still alive. And it's kind of like mind-blowing, because when you think your entire life, like most of your life, that this person was dead and gone long ago, like before fucking color TV was a thing, or before even TV was a thing, and then you find out that this person was actually died fairly recently, it's like, holy shit. Like, holy cow. Anyway, just a little side thought. The program was a documentary about one of those wars. They interviewed people and showed clips from films of the time, black and white, and still photos. I don't remember much about it, but I remember the quality of the pictures, the way everything in them seemed to be coated with a mixture of sunlight and dust, and how dark the shadows were under people's eyebrows and along their cheekbones. The interviews with people still alive then were in color. The one I remember best was with a woman who had been the mistress of a man who had supervised one of the camps where they put the Jews before they killed them. In ovens, my mother said. But there weren't any pictures of the ovens, so I got some confused notion that these deaths had taken place in kitchens. There is something especially terrifying to a child in that idea. Ovens mean cooking, and cooking comes before eating. I thought these people had been eaten, which in a way, I suppose they had been. From what they said, the man had been cruel and brutal. The mistress, my mother explained, mistress, she did not believe in mystification. I had a pop-up book of sexual organs by the time I was 4. The mistress had once been very beautiful. There was a black and white shot of her and another woman in the two-piece bathing suits and platform shoes and picture hats of the time. They were wearing cat's eye sunglasses and sitting in deck chairs by a swimming pool. The swimming pool was beside their house, which was near the camp with the ovens. The woman said she didn't notice much that she found unusual. She denied knowing about the ovens. At the time of the interview, 40 or 50 years later, she was dying of emphysema. She coughed a lot, and she was very thin, almost emaciated. But she still took pride in her appearance. "Look at that," said my mother, half grudgingly, half admiringly. "She still takes pride in her appearance." She was carefully made up, heavy mascara on her eyelashes, rouge on the bones of her cheeks, over which the skin was stretched like a rubber glove pulled tight. She was wearing pearls. She was not a monster, she said. People say he was a monster, but he was not one. What could she have been thinking about? Not much, I guess. Not back then, not at that time. She was thinking about how not to think. The times were abnormal. She took pride in her appearance. She did not believe he was a monster. He was not a monster to her. Probably he had some enduring trait. He whistled off key in the shower. He had a yen for truffles. He called his dog Leibchen and made it sit for little pieces of raw steak. How easy it is to invent a humanity for anyone at all. What an available temptation. A big child, she would have said to herself. Her heart would have melted. She'd have smoothed the hair back from his forehead, kissed him on the ear, and not just get something out of him either. The instinct to soothe, to make it better. There, she'd say, as he woke from a nightmare. Things are so hard for you. All this she would have believed, because otherwise, how could she have kept on living? She was very ordinary under that beauty. She believed in decency. She was nice to the Jewish maid, or nice enough, nicer than she needed to be. Several days after this interview with her was filmed, she killed herself. It said that right on the television. Nobody asked her whether or not she loved him. What I remember now, most of all, is the makeup. I stand up in the dark, start to unbutton, and then I hear something inside my body. I've broken. Something is cracked. That must be it. Noise is coming out of the broken place in my face. Without warning. I wasn't thinking about here or there or anything. If I let the noise get out into the air, it will be laughter, too loud, too much of it. Someone is bound here, and then there will be hurrying footsteps and commands, and who knows, judgment, emotion, inappropriate to the occasion, the wandering womb. They used to think hysteria, and then a needle, a pill, could be fatal. I crammed both hands over my mouth. as if I'm about to be sick, drop to my knees, the laughter boiling like lava in my throat. I crawl into the cupboard, draw up my knees. I'll choke on it. My ribs hurt, and holding back, I shake and heave, seismic, volcanic. I'll burst. Red all over the cupboard. Mirth rhymes with birth. Oh, to die of laughter. I stifle it in the folds of the hanging cloak, clench my eyes, from which tears are squeezing, try to compose myself. After a while, it passes, like an epileptic fit. Here I am in the closet. Nolite te bastardis carborundurum. I can't see it in the dark, but I trace the tiny, scratched, writing with the ends of my fingers, as if it's a code in Braille. It sounds in my head now less like a prayer, more like a command. But to do what? Useless to me in any case. An ancient hieroglyph to which the key's been lost? Why did she write it? Why did she bother? There's no way out of here. I lie on the floor, breathing too fast, then slower, evening out my breathing, as in the exercises for giving birth. All I can hear now is the sound of my own heart, opening and closing, opening and closing, opening. Okay, so that part, like, oh my gosh. In the show, she's like standing against her door, and she's kind of bent over a little bit, and she holds her mouth to try to like keep a sound from coming out. And at first it looks like she might be crying, but then eventually you hear that she's actually laughing a little bit. And I really think there is this fine line between the laughing or crying in that situation. Like you didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. You don't know what the hell is going on exactly. And the whole reason for him asking her to play Scrabble, something so absurd, but something she could also be fucking killed for. And then asking her to kiss her. Like, it's very freaking overwhelming and hard to know, like, how are you going to react in something like that? And she reacts with laughter that she knows she has to stifle, because if anybody hears her, it's going to cause a commotion and somebody might suspect that something is up. And what does she do? She goes in that closet where that lettering has been scratched out of the closet. All right, let's do. Oh, well. Anyway, that is all we're doing for today. The next chapter I will read next week, and the next well, this is already night. I believe the next chapter is in the next part. So this part was only that one chapter, and then the next part. Let me double check though. Yeah. The next part is called Soul Scrolls. So we'll be getting into that section of the book called Soul Scrolls. Blah, blah, blah. Just having a hard time speaking correctly. Anyway, that's all I got for you for now. I'll see you when I see you. And I'll do the little thing where I go over the schedule. So we're still doing Tokyo Ghoul on Fridays, Bridgerton on Saturdays. I think I loaded Bridgerton on Sunday morning this time, just because I don't remember exactly what happened, but I messed up and couldn't get it up on Saturday night, so I put it on Saturday morning. I think I was having a problem with something on YouTube, which was why it didn't get put up on Saturday. Anyway, Night of the Seven Kingdom, my after watch for episode 5, which is the penultimate episode for the season. Episode 6 will be the finale. That is on Tuesday, which is tomorrow. No, that's Tuesday, which is today, not tomorrow. It's Tuesday. I will do it around 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So 6 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be doing a Night of Seven Kingdoms after watch for episode 5. I will put on at least one trailer for episode 6. I have some questions about how that is going to be done. So, and I always put on a trailer if I can find one. So I definitely plan on putting on a trailer. If I can find a second or third trailer, I will try to put that on too. Because I have some questions about how they're going to go about this, and I want to get whatever information I can without getting big spoilers. So anyway, and then Handmaid's Tale, Tuesdays and Sundays. So this is the Tuesday one, and then I'll do Sunday ones. Sunday ones I can do a little bit earlier in the day if I'm up and about and everything. Tuesdays I have to do a little bit later. I have to do in the afternoon because my kid has a class that doesn't end until around noon, and then it takes about a half hour for us to get home, and then I have to get everything set up and everything. So anywhere from 1 to 3 usually I will do the Handmaid's Tale live streams. And then Sundays I can do around noon or 1, something like that usually is when I get them on. So anyway, that's all I got for you. See you when I see you. Bye.